Hello everybody, welcome back to another cheap lazy vegan video. Today's video is a protein-packed, delicious and nutritious meal prep that is cheap and easy to make as always. And if you are going back to school, this is perfect for you. And if you're not going back to school and you're just going to work, it's still perfect for you regardless because we all need to eat. Okay, anyways. If you are new to this channel, I do these meal prep videos pretty often, so if you do enjoy these types of videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and of course the notification bell to get notified of future uploads. And once again, this video is supported by audible.com, which is an awesome online audiobook store with tons of titles to choose from. Head on over to audibletrial.com/cheaplazyvegan and you can get yourself a complimentary, completely free audiobook and a 1-month trial. The book I recommend this week is Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari, and I actually listened to this book twice already because it is very, very good, and it's basically a research book written and read by Aziz Ansari himself, and it explores basically the changing dynamic in modern romantic relationships. Very interesting and quite entertaining to listen to. So if you want to listen to this book or any other audiobook of your choice, go to audibletrial.com/cheaplazyvegan for a free book, and you also help support my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and let's get on with this video. So the first thing I like to do when I meal prep is to cook whatever takes the longest first. I forgot to show it here, but I cooked some rice in my rice cooker. And secondly, I had some garbanzo beans or chickpeas soaking overnight. And after you soak them for at least 8 hours, you want to drain, rinse, and fill with plenty of water. Then you want to bring this to a boil on the stove. And once it comes to a boil, you want to turn it down to a simmer and let it simmer for about 45 minutes to an hour or until your desired consistency. So let's go ahead and prep our breakfast. I decided to make some smoothie bags because these are so simple and literally you can make these in like 5 minutes. So I'm just taking a Ziploc bag. I'm just adding a bunch of stuff in there. So I'm adding ripe bananas. I already had frozen ones, so I'm adding 1 ripe banana in each bag. I also added some frozen raspberries. So I'm just adding the frozen raspberries in just half of the bags because I wanted to make different ones for different days. So I'm making 2 different types of smoothie bag. And for all of them, I'm going to add a tablespoon of hemp seeds because they are good for you. And we're also going to add a tablespoon of ground flax seeds in each of them as well. I like to just buy the ground flax seeds because apparently the whole ones don't absorb as well and you don't get the nutrients as much as when you have the ground ones. Yeah, supposedly. You can grind up your own whole flax seeds if you want, or you can just buy them ground up, which is so much easier. Now in each bag, I'm going to also add 1 scoop of vegan protein powder. This one is vanilla flavored, and you don't have to use protein powder if you don't want to. Another source of protein that you could add are some beans. Although I'm not sure how it would do if you freeze these bags, but that's an option for you. And another source would be tofu. Tofu is really, really nice for making your smoothies creamy and adding that kick of protein. This is the protein powder that I used for my smoothies. And for that extra kick of nutrition, we're going to add a handful of baby spinach into each bag as well. And for the bags that didn't have raspberries in them, I'm going to add some powdered peanut butter for a more nutty smoothie. And you can use regular peanut butter, although I wouldn't freeze that part. I would just scoop it out when I'm ready to blend. But powdered peanut butter is just handy, and it's also lower in fat. So that is why I'm using powdered peanut butter, and it's also delicious. So yeah. So now you can zip these bad boys up and put them into your freezer. You can honestly make as many as you want or as your freezer will fit. And I do like to reuse these Ziploc bags. I just rinse them out after I use it, and it's just very, very easy to reuse. So that's what I would recommend to be a little bit more environmentally friendly. And of course, when you are ready to blend these up, you just stick the entire contents of that bag into your blender. I have this individual sized one, and I'm also going to add some almond milk here. This is unsweetened almond milk, and I also like to fill up the rest with a little bit of water, and then I'm just going to blend it up using my handy dandy blender device thing, which I love so much, and a lot of people ask me about it. The link to this device blender thing is in my description box. It's a blender slash food processor, and it's honestly one of my favorite kitchen gadgets. It comes with this like smoothie blender cup thing, and it also comes with a food processor thing, which I'll show you later, and it's awesome. But anyways, there's your smoothie, there's your breakfast, delicious and healthy. Next, we are going to make a lentil tomato curry type thing, and first thing we're going to do is chop up some onions and garlic. But instead of dicing and mincing, I am lazy, so what I'm going to do is just simply peel the, skin off the onion and of course the garlic, and then we're actually going to stick these into my food processor. So you know how I told you that my blender is also a food processor? So this is the food processor part, and this actually chops vegetables so well. So this is great for the lazy girl in me that does not want to mince or dice. So we're going to use a big pot or a pan. I would suggest a pot or a wok, as you will see later. But anyways, we are going to cook up that onion and garlic mixture with a little bit of water. You can use oil if you wish, but I decided to keep this one oil free. So we're just going to cook that up for a few minutes. And then we're going to add a giant can of crushed tomatoes in there. I actually thought I was using diced, but turned out it was crushed, but whatever, same thing. I'm going to add a little bit of water as well. And we're also going to add the lentils. So I am using some red split lentils. I ended up adding 2 cups in total. And I'm also using some cooked lentils that I already had in the fridge. These are green lentils, I believe. And then we're just going to mix that up very nicely. And as you can see here, my pan is already overflowing a little bit, so which is why I suggest using a pot, or just not being so overly optimistic, if you will, because the size of this pan is definitely not going to fit everything. And I'm just adding more stuff because I'm very smart. Yay! So because I felt like my pan was pretty much overflowing, I decided to transfer about half of the contents into a separate bowl so that I could just work with about half and then do the other half later. And originally I thought I screwed up, so oh my gosh, I need to film this again for you guys. But then I realized, you know what, this is realistic. This kind of stuff happens in the kitchen to normal people, so I just thought I would just show you this process. And of course, I'm just throwing in some kale, and of course it doesn't fit in the pan, but I just decided to throw it in anyway. And as you can see here, I just add a little bit of water as I go. Essentially, the red split lentils, because we're cooking them from dry, they're actually going to absorb a lot of the liquid. So you'll notice that the liquid goes down pretty quickly as the lentils cook. So I just add a little bit of water at a time, and that's just how I cook. I don't know if that's the right way, but that's just what I do. Okay. Now this part is completely optional and unnecessary, but I had some leftover coconut milk that I needed to use up, so I just threw some of that in there. Not a lot, but maybe about half a cup. And here I'm adding my spices. Now I'm adding some curry powder. Also going to add a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of cumin, some paprika, and I'm sure I added garlic powder, I just didn't show it. But you can use whatever spices you want. Honestly, that is totally up to you. And here I'm adding some salt. And basically you just want this to come to a nice boil, and then when it comes to a boil, you want to turn it down to a simmer, and you want to let it simmer for, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so until the red split lentils have cooked. And the reason why I keep stirring it is because my pan was actually quite sticky and the lentils kept sticking to the pan. But if you use a pot, then you should be fine. I don't know. And here I'm adding some ground flax seeds for that added nutrition. Yes. So that's it for the curry recipe. Super simple, 1-pot recipe. I actually ended up making probably about 8 servings in total with all of this stuff, but I'll show you guys how much food I have at the very end. And you can serve this with rice, and this freezes really well, so you can also stick it in the freezer. And yeah, let's move on to the next recipe. This recipe is going to be a simple, creamy red curry recipe, and we're going to be using this entire box of whole wheat pasta. And I'm actually cooking this pasta in this steamer pot thing, which has the steaming top. So this is a great way to make vegetables. steam your veggies. Now these are frozen veggies, and honestly you probably don't even need to do this, but just in case, I thought I would steam it. I don't know, but you can of course do this with fresh vegetables, maybe like fresh Brussels sprouts, fresh green beans, or whatever. But this is a great way to save some time and energy. And yeah, if you have one of these like steamer pot things, it's just handy to do two things at once. All right, now let's make the healthy sauce. I'm actually using a package of soft tofu. You can use silken. And I'm also adding some almond milk here. You can use whatever non-dairy milk you want. Here is some garlic powder. And here I'm adding some red curry paste. If you are using red curry paste or green curry paste, just make sure you check the ingredients list to make sure that there is no fish ingredient in the curry. And here I'm adding some coconut aminos or soy sauce you can use. And I'm also adding just a little bit of salt. And we are going to blend that baby up. And once again, I'm using that food processor. And we're just going to blend it up until it is nice and smooth. And I realized that the sauce was a little bit too liquidy. It was a little bit runny. So in order to thicken it up, I'm just adding a small handful of chickpeas and blending that up. So there's a little hack for you. If you find that your sauce is a little bit on the runny side, just throw in some beans and blend it up, and that should do the trick. And to the pasta, I'm adding some chickpeas for the added protein, and also adding the sauce and mixing that up. And now I am just preparing some vegetables. As a vegan, I actually think I need to eat more vegetables, which sounds ridiculous to some people because they think all vegans eat are vegetables, but that's just not true. I don't think I eat nearly as much as I should of fresh vegetables. So here I'm just chopping up the carrots and celery into sticks so that I can eat them as snacks. I always find that when I have carrot sticks and celery sticks on hand, I just eat them a lot more. So if you prepare them, you will eat them, you know? And I'm also gonna make little salads, like side salads and stuff. So I'm just chopping up the carrots, also the celery, and some romaine lettuce. I got this giant head of romaine lettuce for pretty cheap at the store. It just requires a little bit of work to chop it up. And a little side salad never hurt anybody, so I'm just adding some of those veggies into my bento box. Alright you guys, so now we've got tons of food. Oh my. Alright, so I'm just gonna run through everything I have. Here is the pasta that I made with the red curry. These two are the ones I'm going to be freezing. We've got the frozen Brussels sprouts. I didn't bother steaming them or anything. And I also steamed some carrots. So this one is the one that's just gonna go into the fridge. And we've got some fresh salad. We have lettuce, we've got alfalfa sprouts, we have celery, and we have carrots. And then the same pasta. Honestly, this pasta tastes good cold or hot, so you can just eat it like straight like this. Or if you really want to heat it up, you can just heat it up, but don't heat up the salad with it, obviously. And then these 5 are exactly the same. We made so much of this curry, so I portioned it into the 5. I actually have more here. So of course the curry, we've got about a cup of brown rice here, and then the steamed Brussels sprouts and green beans. Now, I don't honestly know if I have to steam this. I steamed it just in case. And this is the leftover curry. There's still probably about at least 2 or 3 servings in there. And I put quite a bit of curry in there. So the recipe makes quite a lot of curry. If you can call this curry, I don't even know, lentil curry, whatever it's called. And some leftover rice. Once again, there's quite a bit of rice in there. You can always freeze the rice, so I always like to make a little bit extra rice. And I have more of the pasta. And I decided to randomly make salads. because I just had like extra veggies and I thought, they could be a nice like snack, a very, very healthy snack. This is definitely not enough for a meal, I would say. It's only like mostly vegetables. I have some chickpeas, lettuce, some celery, carrots, the alfalfa sprouts, and I also topped it with a tablespoon or so of hemp seeds. Hemp seeds are supposedly very, very good for you, a good source of fat and protein and a lot of other nutrients, so that's why I have it in there. And then I'm just gonna put some dressing on it, whatever type of dressing that I want when I am ready to eat. Yes. And then here are just some chopped up carrot sticks and some celery sticks. Woohoo! I always find if I have these ready to go, it's much more likely that I'll have these as a snack. Like I always say, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. And that is it, my friends. That is the meal prep. This is perfect for back to school. So much food. And you can keep some of it in the freezer, some of it in the fridge. If it's fresh vegetables, obviously keep it in the fridge. And I wouldn't prepare too much fresh vegetables. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, I always do these meal prep videos. So don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.